Blazers with the extra seating, the removable top, are like the ultimate like family show cruiser vehicle, all in one, that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of. You know, there's these vehicles that you can get a little extra more out of them, and you get all the styling. You don't compromise on that. You get something that looks like the old trucks we're familiar with, and you get all these other different features that is just amazing. And it's just like, why not build something like this? Hello my friends, Kevin here. And if you're familiar with my video series, The Bottom Line, then you would know that I focus a lot of attention on classic lower trucks, and specifically C10s. But they might not fit everybody's lifestyle. The seating is a bit limited, and some of you guys might require some more. So I think a good alternative is the Chevrolet Blazer or GMC Jimmy, and I want to focus on those today. And I'm sorry to any Ford guys that may not like this, but I like the Broncos, but they don't lend themselves well to lowering, so I think the Chevrolet versions are better in that way. Prove me wrong. If you got a build, go ahead and do it. But anyways, I found a good example of one. It's a 72 Blazer. I've seen this truck at shows quite a bit, and I thought I'd bring the owner out so that we could talk about why he built this truck the way he did. So Matt, this thing looks great. Like I said, I've seen it at shows a bit, talked to you about it, but tell me how it came to be. What was your vision with it?
My original vision was just to have a hot rod family cruiser. I had a 69 C10 before this, realized it wasn't going to work with the family and the extra seating. So I've always liked the Blazers. I was fortunate enough to find one online on a Sunday night, talked to the owner. He sent me a few more pictures Monday morning, and I just went straight to the bank and hooked up the trailer. Drove 7 hours each way, there and back, picked it up and came back. And I wanted to just do a daily driver build and just kind of enjoy it for a little while, but I had it for about a week and realized it wasn't going to work for this one. Knowing myself with my meticulous OCD, I had to just do it from the ground up the way I want it. And yeah, it snowballed from there.
Yeah, and I think that could be a lot of issue with some of these vehicles is with the top and more weather stripping, because the top is removable, so more water can seep in through with time. It's just going to find cracks. The weather stripping is going to probably go out. And so I assume that you found a lot of these issues, maybe with the floors,
We did.
Rust.
You did. It was a little unfortunate. It had looked great from before. It had been sort of restored, a 10-foot car, if you will. But they did some shoddy work over the rust that was there, and we found it. We just had to take it down to bare metal, start over, do it right. And yeah, so it was a little unfortunate of a setback. I almost wish I would have found a different one where you could see everything from the beginning, as we always would. But you don't really know when you get it. It just is what it is, and you got to roll with it.
Cool. So you found all the rust, you repaired that stuff. What's the next step? Doing the suspension, and what did you do for that?
Yeah, so after all that, we sealed the body in epoxy primer, and it was that kind of decision point of, do we fix the factory chassis that had some flaws and then throw all the high-end components at it that I was going to probably put on there anyways, or do we just go with an aftermarket chassis? So made the decision to go with Scott's Hot Rods. They had a great chassis for this vehicle, already set up and spec'd out. All I had to do was pick my options for it. With the big Willwood brakes, rack and pinion steering, the Ford 9-inch rear end, all the bells and whistles, pre-plumbed brake lines and fuel lines. So all that was just like, let's just do it right, and then put it on the best, foundation that we could put it on. Exactly. So we made that decision. That was like a 7-month wait time, so the project kind of sat stagnant for a little bit. It was during COVID, so everything was back ordered anyways. So, but it gave us some time to kind of reconfigure, some other parts and the direction we wanted to go with it. And so it ended up being the best move was putting it on that aftermarket chassis. Sorry to the the purists out there that I got rid of the factory 2-wheel drive chassis, but it still has the VIN number, so we're still good.
Yeah, and that's something to consider with these vehicles. I've said it over and over again, is that when you get to a certain point, you start adding suspension, and it's like you're still dealing with an older chassis. And if you want to do something else with it, you want it to ride a little bit more like a newer vehicle, a new chassis is the way to go. And I was going to ask you, it's coil-over, right?
Correct, yeah.
What made you decide to do that and not go bags or anything like that?
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, bag trucks are great. I think on another build, it would be awesome to just have a bag truck to be able to slam it down in the parking lot. But for this one, I just wanted more of a performance-based cruiser, something that, that would handle really well, drive really well. And just, it was another system, you don't really have to worry about throwing airbags in the mix. So I just wanted to have that static ride height.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the best way to go. But if you do want to do an airbag setup, you can check out an older video I did called Problems with Air Ride Suspension. I believe that was the title of it. I'll drop a link to that in the description below. All right, so you got the chassis all settled or figured out. I guess next would be the drivetrain in it. It's not factory, right?
No,
you did
not
something
at all,
new.
yeah.
I mean, you got a new chassis. You're going all out,
Absolutely.
right?
It had a factory 350 in it, like most of them did. But I knew I wanted a modern LS motor for just the reliability, drivability, and something right out the box that was probably the best way to go. Is just going with GM's Connect and Cruise packages. They're fully customizable. You can get all different, motor and trans options. I went with the 525 horsepower rated 6.2 liter LS3 all aluminum block. We backed it with a 4L70 2500 stall. Added all the bells and whistles on it, the front runner drive assembly. We ended up fully, painting and paint matching the engine and everything. We did a full 3-inch stainless mandrel bent exhaust, MagnaFlow mufflers on there. So it just sounds and it performs really well, and no major mechanical issues so far.
Well, what was next? You got everything, all the functionality out of the vehicle. What was next on your list route?
Well, that was paint and body time, and we'd done a lot of the, obviously, like I said, the rust repair before. We were kind of waiting on the chassis to get it all lined out. You don't never want to do body work until you have it on the chassis that it's going to be on. So once the chassis was here and the motor was there, we could really start diving into the body work. I went with Hot Rods and Customs, the shop that it was at. The painter over there, Andy Mee, he's an amazing painter, one of the best in the business. Really well known in the bike world actually as well. But his paint work on cars is phenomenal. So I was really happy he was spearheading the project. I know he was going to take it to the next level. We went with I've always loved this color that Toyota put out with the new TRD Pros called Cavalry Blue. I think it's a really kind of a traditional looking color, but still has like some modern style to it.
This is a 72, so you changed the front end on it, right?
Yes, yeah. Obviously this isn't the 72 front end, this is the 67 style front end. The truck originally had that when I bought it, so I was going to do that swap anyway, so it was kind of a plus that it came with it. It was original sheet metal, which was awesome too. We didn't have to deal with any aftermarket sheet metal, fitment issues, stuff like that. Because I think that front end looks really great on the lowered versions. It still looks good with a 72 front end, don't get me wrong, but I think this is just my favorite, and it looks the best when they're on the ground, not lifted 4x4. And so yeah, doing that front end swap is the biggest, I think, styling change we made, obviously, but just keeping a lot of the original touches that are on there, trim, mirrors, emblems, just little things like that, just to keep it classic. And then just the modern stuff we wanted to, hide a little bit, and keep that stuff underneath, but still make it look like a classic truck, but just have, just a little bit of hot rod in it.
Yeah, exactly, which is a big kind of a change, because I remember back in the days we were shaving stuff and all this stuff, and now it's like, we want them to look timeless. We want them to look original. And that's what you executed here. And speaking of, you've got the top on this thing. It looks a little different to me, like you did something to it.
Yeah, just slightly. The factory texture was like a gel coat like you'd see on a boat. It was pretty coarse. They tended to be very splotchy because they were just from factory, just done kind of very quickly on an assembly line. So we smoothed it all out, retextured it with kind of a little finer grain texture, used a Raptor liner. Painted it with the GM Classic White, same paint that's on the lower trim and the front grille. So just breaking up that, getting that nice two-tone paint job on it, and that fully restored top is really awesome. Have yet to take it off. I actually like the look of it with it on. We only had it off briefly when it was getting done, but I think it's going to stay on for the most part. You obviously got to find some buddies to help you move it and where you're going to put it when it's off. It looks cool, but maybe one of these days I'll get around to doing it, but I think for now it's going to stay on.
You got everything all done. Now what about your wheel tire combo? What'd you pick for that?
Well, wheels and tires, it's always a hard decision for most people. You got to find just the right wheel that fits the vehicle, that just doesn't look, too awkward or like it doesn't belong.
It's a make or break part.
It
is getting wheels. If you get the wrong set of wheels, it's just gonna have the wrong look. It will totally clash with what you got going on.
Right,
so.
and I'm super picky with my style. I was searching the internet looking for different combinations, and had a few that I narrowed it down to. But I inevitably ended up calling Chris Coddington over at Hot Rods by Boyd, because I had seen this set of wheels actually on a C10 before. So again, I kind of knew what the wheel looked like with that body line, even though it was a Blazer versus a C10. So we did kind of our own custom version of those. he was amazing to work with. Chris is a rad dude, local here in Orange County. He even hand delivered them to me, which was awesome.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
but we went with those 20-inch Boyds. They look great on there, Cerakoted center coats, charcoal gray, and with a polished lip. And then for tires, I went with the Nitto NT55 G2s. They have a really iconic look to them. First of all, those treads just look aggressive. They're a very iconic tire, just looking at them, standing still. But performance-wise, they're awesome. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better tire to put on there. I've also been a Nitto guy since I was a kid. This was my first set. I put some Terra grapplers on my Tacoma when I was in high school, and I've just always loved the Nitto tires for for their performance and their styling.
And speaking on the inside, there's still a lot of function on there. So what do you got going on? Climate control, maybe mobile entertainment, all that stuff.
Yeah, so everything is obviously fully updated. So we went with a full vintage air setup in this. It keeps the cab really cool. It's a little bit bigger of a space to cool down, but it blows some really nice cold air. Really happy with that system. As far as our gauges, we went with Dakota Digital. They have an RTX series gauges that has a very classic look. Looks like the traditional C10 gauges, but with all the digital.
Yeah, look have the analog looks, all that stuff. But you got some upgrades with
Absolutely.
them too.
It gets all your readings and everything from the ECU of your motor, so you get all your different your gauges, readouts, and everything that you need to keep an eye on the heart of your vehicle. And then as far as like the stereo system, we wanted a nice simple and nothing over the top. I like the factory look of the original AM/FM radio. So American Automobile Radio has like a nice perfect replica, but with modern internals and Bluetooth, so you could just stream it from your phone. We have a full kicker speaker system in there. I've got two 10-inch subs underneath the front.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're both front seats. It's got
up and down the road.
Yeah, exactly. 6.5-inch components and some nice custom kick panels in the front, and then 6x9s in the rear, custom made into the upholstery panels there. So my good friend Kyle Montoya did a killer job on finishing out the majority of this build, all the wiring, stereo, and all that stuff. So it came out really nice.
Yeah, and that's got to be really, or at least make drives a little more enjoyable. I know the exhaust sounds great and all that stuff, but sometimes it's nice to have some tunes. You're on a little stretch of a drive, and
sometimes
nice.
I like tunes, but other times I like to shut it off and just listen to the motor do its thing. So it's nice to have both.
Well, that's enough talking about it. Let's be about it. I want to experience this thing a bit. So can we go for a ride along?
Let's do it.
All right, that's what I like to hear. It looks great in here. It's obviously been all redone on the inside. Who did the interior? Who handled all that?
So that was done by a really awesome guy named Eric down at Old Town Upholstery in Escondido. He does phenomenal work out of just like a small shop. Super friendly dude, and really just like really takes his craft to heart. So when I saw a lot of his work on some other cars at some past car shows, again, it was like right around the corner from the shop that built the truck. So it was really easy to just bring it over there, and he can start, maybe making patterns for some stuff. And
nice.
It was really, really good to work with. That custom little car seat that's back here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but my 4-year-old, she loves riding in this thing, and I had a little $50 car seat from Walmart that just looked kind of plain. And one day I saw the extra fabric, and I'm like, why didn't it, click earlier just to make a custom matching car seat? And that's what we did. And it was only like a few $100, probably one of the cheapest things I spent on this vehicle, but it gets like the biggest reaction it shows.
When I come to think about it, Blazers with the extra seating, the removable top, are like the ultimate family show cruiser vehicle, all in one, that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of. There's these vehicles that you can get a little extra more out of them, and you get all the styling. You don't compromise on that. You get something that looks like the old trucks we're familiar with, and you get all these other different features that is just amazing. And it's just like, why not build something like this? Well, we got a wide open road, high speed limit. Let's see what this thing can do. Wow, super smooth on it, just going fast. That's crazy, man. Nothing like that. Such a nice day out here, taking this in, man. This is it. This is what you want to do. You want to be cruising around, cool vehicle like this. We're down in Orange County, California, so a vehicle like this is a little odd from what everybody else is driving. I think we got passed up by a Ferrari a little bit a while ago, and it's just, I think this is going to make heads turn, when you have something like this in this area. They're so used to buying vehicles or supercars or whatever, which, you know, they're cool, but they don't necessarily have, you know, they don't show your individuality, they don't show your personality, your style. And when you build something like this, it's just so unique, and it's just gonna stand out from anything else that you can buy. And man, you really did a nice job of this thing. I really think inside and out, the styling from the interior, the choices of the paint colors, the minimal mods you did on the exterior, very choice in making it look classic, but updated it a bit. So yeah, goal achieved, I guess.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can't take credit for the whole thing. I'm obviously the design and everything, the vision was mine, but I mean, I can't take credit on the heavy lifting stuff. You know, I got to give credit to everybody that worked on this truck, from, you know, Randy Clark and his team, Andy Mee at Hot Rods and Customs, Eric over at Old Town Upholstery, Ross Berlinga at TMI, my good friend Kyle Montoya, who helped really finish the build. He put most of it all together, all the wiring, assembly and everything. You know, I got in there when I could with a little bit of wrench time, but a lot of people put, you know, a lot of time into this truck. So I got to give credit where credit's due.
No shame in that at all. You know, it's great to be able to get your hands and be able to do it yourself, and like you have done some of that stuff, but you know, sometimes you gotta just trust some other hands and some other help. It just kind of is, you know, other guys have profession specialties that can help you make your dream a reality, and I think Matt accomplished that with his Blazer. And man, I'm so jealous. Like, this has got to be awesome. Just cruise down to the beach with the family, you know, like you're saying, go get some ice cream or something like that. Like,
yeah, not in the truck though, outside the truck.
Go and get the ice cream, and then cruise on back. Well, that was absolutely amazing to go on a ride along with Matt in this 72 Blazer. It was great to get that first-hand experience of what it's like to be in one of these vehicles and to drive it around on streets and all of that. And hopefully that gives all of you some new perspective on these vehicles and how it can be a great alternative to the classic trucks that we all love. Well, that just about does it for this video, and we thank you for watching it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video, and we will catch you next time.